What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is Remembering Gene Wilder. In case you forgot him, this documentary is for you. Gene Wilder passed in 2016, so it's been some time. I guess if you're really young, maybe you didn't really know a lot of his stuff. You're probably just that guy that was in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Although I can't even trust your parents to have shown you that. It's possible they just showed you the Johnny Depp version. So who knows? Who knows what your education on Gene Wilder is? So, but for a decent amount of the population, this will be at least somewhat interesting. Gene spent quite a bit of time in the industry working with Mel Brooks on several classic films, including Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, The Producers. He was married to Gilda Radner for a long time. If you're not 12, you might know who that is. So, kind of a famous Saturday Night Live alumni. Wow, trying to say live and alumni back to back. And it has a lot of input from the people who knew him over the years, and people he worked with, and people who were family members of those he worked with. Like, obviously, Richard Pryor couldn't comment on the documentary, so we get a relative of Richard Pryor's that talks about sort of what it was like for that partnership when Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor worked together for a few years as like a good, solid comedic duo. And then oddly enough, he was on Will and Grace, so that we even get a little section with Eric McCormick getting to talk about what it was like to have Gene Wilder on Will and Grace. He did have a sitcom also in the mid-90s called Something Wilder, which just didn't pan out. Kind of feels, after you watch this documentary, it feels really bad because they don't really talk about Something Wilder that much. It's just breezed, just jumped, like hop, skip, and a jump right over that. And it kind of feels really bad. It's like this dude had a massive career in terms of comedies on film and worked forever, decades. And then he was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do a sitcom. And then I think it was CBS was like, nah, no, you won't. And it's like, that's so rude. Like, we have to figure out a better way for some of these people when they transition to television. So that way it's just not like, nah, no, I know you were a huge hit in films for all these years, but we're gonna make you a one season wonder with this sitcom. So we unfortunately did not craft you, nor do we have the patience to craft you a sitcom appropriate for your talent. So this is interesting. Also, I didn't know how he died, so it answered that question. I don't remember how every single celebrity dies. I remember a couple. Generally, like, the really bad ones. You know, like overdoses and car crashes and suicides. Those tend to stick out more to me than natural causes, for the most part. Like, I don't know, even though he died recently, and this is kind of, I don't want to, I could look this up. Right, I acknowledge this. Like, I have Google, but for purposes of this, I'm saying right now, I don't know how Sidney Poitier. I don't know. Like, if somebody were to ask me, when did Sidney Poitier die? I'd be like, I don't know. Old, being old age. I really don't know. Like, and that was it was somewhat recent. That was fairly recent. I don't remember it because I know it wasn't like car crash, heroin overdose, suicide, and those tend to get a different amount of media attention. You know, Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash, I'll remember that, but no, I don't remember Gene Wilder from 2016. So now I do, because I just watched a documentary about it. Anyway, or the last 5 to 10 minutes, I guess, is about it. This doesn't have audio description. It's a talking head documentary. To be honest, there would not be that much audio description here, but there would be some. There would be a little bit. So I do have to ding it a little bit. I don't know that completely using the term unwatchable is, which is what I usually use whenever a film does not have audio description. I usually use the term unwatchable. What I will say, though, is to Netflix and their marketing department, is I can't wait for Intuitive AI to come into Netflix, because there was absolutely no reason to send me an email and a push notification letting me know that Remembering Gene Wilder was coming to Netflix. Like, you guys had this hot new documentary, when it's obviously not a Netflix documentary. It's obviously something you acquired, because there's no audio description on it. And Netflix puts audio description on all their original titles. So it's an acquired documentary. And thus, what I can equate this to is, if I'm living in my house and I cook baller food and I want people to come over, I want to invite them over on when I have great food that I've cooked. Essentially what Netflix is doing by sending me an email and a push notification for a film they don't own, that doesn't have audio description, is there that guy that's standing outside that's like, I've got Doritos and Coke Zero. Who wants to come over? No one, dude. We can all get Doritos and Coke Zero. Like, there's nothing special about that. The guy standing next to you has Doritos and Cokes. Well, I don't know, he's got Sprite Zero. That's the point is that, like, stop promoting bullshit. Like, like there needs to be a reason. I know that you're just like, give me your eyes, but at the same time, it's like, make it special, make the reason why I'm watching you special. And that's why I was saying Intuitive AI would have noticed the fact that on my account that I have audio description turned on, so that way it plays a title. My preferred audio language is English audio description. So Intuitive AI would have caught the fact that this film does not have audio description and would not have bothered to hype a movie to me that does not have audio description. So while it's true that I do watch documentaries, it would have just recommended a different documentary to me that has audio description, because those exist. So either put audio description on your damn film and then recommend it to me, or then don't. One of two things. So I will ding Netflix for lack of competency competency, lack of thought, lack of care. I don't know. Pick one. I don't think there's like a contractual obligation to send this out as a notified, like, coming to Netflix. It's not your title. It's a documentary also. I don't think anybody cares. I think this, whoever, you picked up this documentary from, I think they were probably just like, thank God somebody bought us. So it's not like it was nominated for an Oscar or anything. Like it doesn't have a whole lot of, it's not even a super well crafted documentary, because it's there's no craft in it. It's just interviews. It's just somebody just pieced together interviews, and Gene Wilder narrates over it somehow. I don't know, from an audiobook. I'm guessing he did probably an audiobook at some point. But I found no alternative fact that tells me, okay, that's a thing, that it's not him, so there you go. It's fine if you want to learn about Gene Wilder, and yes, I'm going to give this a grade, because aside from not knowing who was talking, it's pretty easy to figure out who's talking, and a lot of the celebrity voices are instantly recognizable. Like, if you're the type of person who's interested in remembering Gene Wilder, you're gonna know that's Mel Brooks' voice. You just are. It's really hard. It's really hard for me to accept that. That unless you're just clicking on random titles, that you would be interested in remembering Gene Wilder. That you'd be like, oh yeah, I really like that guy. And that the guy that he did like 3 of his biggest movies with, that you wouldn't know who that is. You'd be like, oh, whose indistinguishable voice is that? Of course it's Mel Brooks. He's had the same voice his whole entire career. Even now he's like 95, and he's got 97 or something like that. He's got the same voice. So, um, yeah, it's there are some people you won't recognize, but I recognize a lot of the main talent that he was crossing paths with. Anyway, even Eric McCormick, I was like, well, that's Will from Will and Grace, you know. So, anyway, uh, I'm not. It's not like my favorite thing in the world to watch this documentary without audio description, but I don't want to sit here and it's unwatchable. Such a strong word for this. I don't think you're missing. I don't know what you're missing. I don't know. It has such a strong talking head structure. I don't know what you'd be missing audio description wise. I'd be very interested to see somebody come in. I was just talking with another audio description writer the other day, and he was writing narration for a film that's like this, and he was telling me how frustrating it was to go through and be like, he's like, there's no way, they just don't stop talking. And I'm like, I get that. And that's why a lot of times with documentaries like that, I'm just like, if I can know who's talking, and documentaries that aren't filled with famous voices, it's more frustrating. Like if we do a documentary on fracking, like I want to know why people are talking about fracking. Like, who are you and why do you deserve to be here? But with this, I kind of got the gist. So anyway, it's all right. It's okay. I didn't blow me away. It's fine. I'm gonna give Remembering Gene Wilder a B. So there you go. I don't know that it asks any deep questions or deep thoughts, but it does a pretty good job of being like, this was Gene Wilder's life. There you go. Without dragging it out over 3 hours. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.